Hey guys, this is Paul, and this is another video update for Void Destroyer 2. So it's been a while since I made one of these development updates, but of course that doesn't mean that I haven't been updating the game. Hopefully you've been keeping up with the game and seeing the, relatively frequent updates via Steam, and you can check the patch notes and things like that. It's just I haven't done a video update because I've been working on the same thing as I was on the last update, which are scripted missions. So there's been that, working on adding scripted missions, as well as like various other bugs that were popping up, things like that, different balancing issues, all kinds of variety of issues, but generally speaking, it was geared more towards the early game, towards balancing and towards adding these missions. So these take a very long time. So now we have something like 19 scripted missions, and again, these are like your side missions for the various factions in the game world. So that means there's about 3 each per faction, with 2 of the factions not having any. The gambling faction doesn't have any scripted missions, nor does the stub faction have any missions. Those are a little special, so I'll have to focus on those a little later. So with the sort of core factions, the standard factions having their scripted missions, what I've done is create a sort of a mission progression, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video update. So here, let's take a mission here while I talk about this. Race shakedown. Let's see, maybe let's upgrade our ship a little bit more. We can easily afford that. This mission is a little tougher, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to upgrade my ship a little bit. And let's see what I want. This ship is already fast and low, so let's go ahead and install this. And then install our upgrade recharge. So go ahead. Let's do this. So the idea is that missions now have a sort of this more fine-tuned progression. There's something that's going to be seen more towards the game's final release. Whereas before, I would just add missions and just kind of slap them together, where they go, things like that. When you don't have a lot of missions, you kind of go that route. And then when you do have a good amount of missions, you can take a look at them as sort of a larger piece and kind of put them together. So the idea is that initially the player is going to be doing easy missions for not a lot of money, but not a lot of risk. And then later on, the player is going to be doing harder missions for more money, more risk. But before that happens, there's some dialogue. There's a scripted mission. But before that happens, we might have to deal with a sort of a scripted mission, which are sort of like, almost like boss fights in a way, where they present a unique challenge. So here's a scripted mission. I'm supposed to do this race for the bounty hunters. The race is meant to draw out pirates to try to attack me, and then I'm supposed to deal with the pirates. So let's go ahead. Of course I have to now race and talk, which I'm already kind of shaking on flying and talking, but that's alright. Looks like I'm doing okay. There's our pirates. So now I have to deal with the pirates. One down. Alright, so the idea is that these special challenges come up, and they're, you know, they're interesting. They're more interesting than your standard missions. There's dialogue, there's twists and turns, there's things that the player can do that are sort of optional, that might not be immediately obvious, things like that. So I'm pretty happy about these scripted missions. But again, I wanted there to be a bit of a progression where a new player is not just gonna like dive right into these right away, but instead sort of have a progression where, you know, initially you don't have a great ship, and you need money to get a better ship. And of course, I don't want the player to do a scripted mission that's a bit more of a challenge with a crappy ship. So now, what happens is mission progression is a little bit slower. So what happens is in the beginning, the early missions progress you pretty fast, but a little bit later, the progression is a little slower. Just to kind of like give you that sort of weighty feeling of advancing through the ranks. You know, I played some other games like Skyrim and Oblivion and things like that, and sometimes in those games, it felt like, you know, you did like 5 missions, and you were the guild leader. You were like the mage. You know, you're the top mage of the game, whereas really you never even cast a single spell, maybe. You know, so I really don't want that Void Destroyer. I want this to be a little bit meaty. So that's why there's this progression, a combination of scripted and auto-generated missions, sort of like that. So you kind of do the grunt work, and then you have this sort of more involved mission. It's kind of like a level up, and that gets you better ships and also better missions and things like that. Wow, I'm getting hammered there, huh? Yeah. Let's see. I can go towards these gates so they help me out. It looks like I actually need that. Oh, there's a gunship. Oh my god. Looks like I'm in real big trouble here. So maybe this mission wasn't the best idea for talking through, but maybe we can pull it off to battle. So that's the goal. That's the goal, that there's this sort of progression, that the player has this sort of satisfying sort of a path through these factions. And I think I've done a pretty good job on that. You know, obviously it's for the players to decide, and I hope you guys agree to that too. And if you don't, we'll talk our way through it. We'll discuss. We'll build things that way. Looks like I'm doing okay. Thanks to those extra upgrades, I think I might have really saved myself here. There we go. I don't remember if this is the last wave or not, so actually I feel a little bit of tension here. Looks like it is the last wave. Alright, cool. So they're happy, I'm happy. I've advanced to the next level of bounty hunters. So now I can go ahead and I can buy a better ship. That's the other thing. The progression of these missions is also in mind of better ships. So before the player can buy a heavy fighter for the bounty hunters, the player has to do that mission that you just saw. You know, there's no other way to advance. So in a way, I'm kind of ensuring a certain amount of skill for the player, a certain amount of understanding for the player, posing a sort of a unique challenge, and giving the players sort of this bit of a gate to pass through. So I hope you guys, I hope you guys appreciate these missions as much as I hope you're going to appreciate them. Hope you guys enjoy them quite a lot. That is a big goal. Big goal for me here. Alright, so now we have mission rank 3 for the Pride. And now we have this new mission here. We can take destroy platform. This is a scripted mission, but it's a little higher tier than these other ones. And we can also buy the Reaper, a better ship, heavy fighter. And like I said, I've been working on rebalancing some things. So now the Reaper is a heavy fighter. Before it was a light fighter. And also, if you have the money, the Bounty Hunter faction now is intended to be the best ships if you have the money. So here, for example, I can upgrade to twin turrets. I'm doubling my firepower, but I don't have enough money. I need 132,000 to install this upgrade, so quite a lot. But this will literally double my firepower for a ton of money. I could have bought an additional ship to be my wingman, or I can double my firepower. But that's sort of the idea behind the Pride, that for a bunch of money, you can really boost up their ships. So let's go ahead. Let's take this mission here. All right, let's do competent. Let's do that. Let's hope for the best. Let's go ahead and save here. Do a lot of saves so that I can test these things. All right, there's our heavy fighter. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna hire a Skyhawk to help me out. Let's see, how much is a Reaper? 10,000. But what, I can't afford it, right? Yeah. Let's go ahead. Let's hire a Reaper. I'm sorry, a Skyhawk here. To help me out in this mission. There we go. So, like I said, I've done a bunch of rebalancing, including here with the Reaper and some other ships, with the Pride. So, as I've been doing these missions, I've been playing a lot more and testing. These missions kind of go that sort of pattern, where it's sort of this constant back and forward testing, repeating over and over. So I get a chance to play a lot in these ships. There's my hard fighter. Let's go ahead. So our mission here is pretty simple. It's to destroy this platform. This is not a super heavily armed platform. I'm in a heavy fighter, so I should be alright. It's shooting at me pretty well. Of course, some enemy ships will show up, right? But here I am, I'm shooting at it. Hopefully my wingman here is also going to shoot at it too. Got my shield up, so I don't have to worry too much about the fire until the other fighters come in. There's my wingman helping me out. Alright, there goes my shield, so I have to watch out a little bit more. Maybe wait for it to recharge. Alright, there's some pirates. So I'm going to switch tactics. I'm going to kill these pirates. Hopefully, right? But in the new Reaper, it shouldn't be so bad killing these pirates. So that's the idea. There's been a lot of play testing. Oh man, I'm getting. Oh, what is this? Oh my god, it's a gunship. There I go. Alright, so maybe competent is a little bit too high for me for this mission. Let's try it again. So that's what I've been working on for these past few months, and oh my god, it takes forever. It takes such a long time. But at the same time, it's pretty satisfying adding these missions. I gotta take things a little slower here on my next attempt. It's pretty satisfying doing these missions. So that feels really good. It's just that, man, it just takes so long, and it's just really hard to do anything about that, unfortunately. I actually tried working with people to help me out, but I just found that was just basically my attitude just really didn't help. Let's load up something else here just to kind of demonstrate this a little bit more. Now that I know I can't really do that mission here. So here we are at the very early stages of the game. Here we only have one mission available to us, so that's what I was talking about. Where in the early game I've really focused on the new player experience. You just have one mission available, and it's a pretty easy mission. That's going to raise our skill rank here. It's the basic destroy. Whoa. Got out of that dock a little too fast there, didn't I? That's why you always got to focus, guys. Don't fly spaceships and talk, you know, apparently. So I'm going to do this really early mission here. Very, very easy. Not a lot of pay, but it's a stepping stone towards unlocking other missions. So it's definitely worthwhile to do, but it doesn't, you know, it doesn't involve combat. It involves combat a little bit, but this object that's like hurling towards space there, it doesn't shoot back. So that's why it's a pretty useful early mission. But at the same time, I don't want the player to like keep doing these missions because they're like the more boring ones. Once the player masters this mission, I don't want the player ever doing this mission again. Even if it is easy, I want the player to do the more fun missions. Just so the player has more fun, you know. That was pretty easy, but it makes sure that the player understands the basic of flight and the basic of shooting before harder missions come along. So now that mission isn't going to immediately unlock other missions. I'm actually gonna have to do it again to unlock the other missions, which is a bit of a gamble for me. Some players might be like, oh my god, it's so boring, or whatever, you know. But I really want to make sure that the early game, the player understands the basics of flight, and combat and speeds and things like that. So here, actually, I'm sorry. So now we've opened up a courier mission. At 1.5, we have this courier mission. So the player now has like two choices of two missions. We can increase the difficulty, we can upgrade our fighter a little bit here. Let's see. We can even afford a front energy shield and defense turret. So that's cool. So let's do that. So basically, before, missions, if they increased rank, they would always do it. Now, they do increase the rank, however, they do it at a slower pace. Initially, it's pretty fast, and then the higher the mission, the slower it is. So let's get out of here. Let's fly over here. We should get intercepted by some pirates. Do some combat there. No pirates. It's a bit odd. That's fine. Not a big deal, I guess. Sometimes the randomness of the game kind of results in things like that. Alright, so let's go ahead. Let's dock with the space. get our money. There we go. Easy mission. We can't afford anything here, you know, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and undock. Let's go back to our civilian base and take a look at what happened there. There it is. So basically, that's the big goal, is to slow down progression in the early game, to rebalance quite a lot of stuff, to fix some bugs and issues. That's what's been going on. Speaking of bugs, I'm pretty sure I nailed a huge source of crashing. Obviously, thanks to you guys, thanks to your testing for reporting this bug and giving me more info. With that sort of help, I was able to find a pretty big crash bug that would happen very often on docking. Even in the reviews, in the Steam reviews, you could have seen a trend of players often saying how the game was prone to crashing. So that's been fixed, and I'm super happy about that. I've been playing pretty much all morning doing tests here. Haven't crashed a single time. Hopefully I haven't jinxed myself. So I'm very, very happy about that. That's another really big benefit of just constantly doing these missions, is that I tend to play a lot. The ratio of playing to coding or scripting these missions is the ratio of playing is pretty high. So I get to see bugs and issues, and I get to like test them out and play them. Alright, here come the pirates. There we go. But in our little upgraded Hornet, we should be pretty prepared for them, to face them. Of course, that should get us closer to our goal. Higher tier missions. There's one. We can activate our energy barrier. This ship has these sort of physical shields, so depending on the angle, it might actually take quite a lot of hits there. Here's our last enemy. Turrets helping us out. Here we go. Bye-bye, my friend. Let's see. Where's our target? There it is. Let's go ahead and fly towards it once again. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoy these scripted missions. There's quite a lot more work to be done, of course, and I really hope to add more scripted missions and auto-generated missions. Let's see, there's some pirates fighting here, but so what's next? So next up, what I want to do is I want to start working on the story missions, the early story missions. And of course, that's going to be another huge time-consuming task. Yeah, I'm not super sure exactly what I'm going to do, exactly what the story will be. I kind of have the ending, the player owns everything. The ending is easy. So that'll be a big challenge, but we'll get through that together. Let's see. So now, if I take this other courier mission here, I'll level up, and I'll be able to take some more scripted missions and unlock more missions. Or maybe I could go to a military base and do those type of missions. But here now I can actually afford the Gremlin, an upgraded ship, and I'll probably boost up the Gremlin because it feels a little weak, so I'll probably work on that. I'll probably rebalance this ship a little bit more. Let's install a generator. Energy barrier. Oh, we can't afford it. That's all right. So let's go ahead and do another mission. So that's on the horizon is more story missions. After that, after the early story gets put in, what I'm gonna work on. There we go. What I'm gonna work on is sort of the late game, non-scripted elements. So maybe more base capturing, maybe more responses to the player, a little bit more intelligence of the. Looks like we're getting some help from the military there. Look, yeah, there they are. That's the benefit of going towards military bases, is that the military are likely to be around and they're likely to help you. So after that, after working on sort of the higher level elements of the game, um, I'll keep working on the story, sort of the later story, and then polish and then release. So we're still quite a ways off from releasing the game, sort of considering it finished. But we're getting there closer and closer every day, and a big boost to my morale is the scripted missions, because that really adds a good amount of gameplay, I believe, to the game, which I'm really happy about. Adding having 19 scripted missions right now, plus the additional other missions, makes me feel pretty good. And it kind of helps with my anxiety. I feel a decent amount of anxiety about finishing the game, and then what the future will bring, things of that nature. So here we're at a military base. Our first mission is a cleanup mission. So even before we get offered other missions, we have to sort of do this introductory mission, which I think is pretty cool. Things like that. Yeah. So that's what's been going on. So I wanted to show you guys sort of how I do this, kind of a behind the scenes. So I made a spreadsheet for all the missions: civilians, military, mining, kind of some notes here. Green ones are the scripted missions. Just kind of reminding myself that potentially I should add some here. And then I have the progression here, where first you have to do the suspicious activity, then you can do destroy debris, then you hit rank 2.9, so you have to do the salvage mission. That opens up an escort mission, which you can do this other scripted missions, and so on, and goes on like that. So this is my little spreadsheet. It has all these stats of ships. That's how I kind of deal with game balance, how much ships cost and things like that. But now it includes these missions in here also. The other thing I wanted to mention is I've started a web series. So if you're interested, if you like these game development updates, you might be interested in my YouTube channel here. I've added this Game Dev Paradise series in here, and what this is, it's a playlist of these videos that I've uploaded, and they talk about game development. So you can see hey, what is programming, how to learn programming, what's a game engine, bug hunts, and also even me adding a scripted mission. This actually goes through the process of how I added scripted mission. I'll talk through it and demo it. So if you're interested in game development, this isn't really intended to be for game developers. These videos are intended to be more for hobbyists or people curious how games are made. Maybe super early beginners to game development, because I try to do an overview versus not. So yeah, check out this video series, and I hope you'll like it. I could use some more views. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the project. I'm going to keep working hard on it for you guys, so you guys can keep leaving those great reviews for me, that great feedback, keeping me going, to make the game of my dreams. Hopefully, something that potentially resembles a game of your dreams, so we can both enjoy it. Both enjoy Void Destroyer 2. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you later.